Welcome and thanks for joining us. My guest today is Keith Hardiman. He's the Director of Enterprise IT at the Air Force. Keith, thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, thanks for having me. I really appreciate being here.
Of course. Keith, you've just hit the 1 year mark in your role overseeing the department's huge information and cyber enterprise. So, to kind of kick us off, could you walk us through what your portfolio encompasses, how what you do fits into the overall IT strategy and at the department, and what your first year of balancing so many priorities has been like?
So the first year has been very rapid in pace. It's been exciting. It's been a great learning experience and opportunity, and it's something that I'm still working through as we do a lot of things that the DAF CIO has asked us to kind of work through. Particularly within my portfolio and where I get to go and play in the spaces, I get to deal with enterprise integration as far as talking about our cloud, our enterprise services, our connect portfolio, our protect portfolio. When we talk about things such as zero trust, getting to end user device management, where we're talking about mobile devices or just some of our daily use type of devices. Cloud adoption and how we can leverage some of those things from doing using like maybe traditional methods, but you getting back into more of a multi-cloud and hybrid environment. And then also had the honor of doing things as far as dealing with policy governance oversight type of activities where we do some policy type of activities that help inform which are influenced by DoD-CIO and how we want to make sure that that's articulated to the DAF at large and making sure we're here to the direction. The other thing I would make from a governance standpoint, we've been working to really refine and codify that to ensure that when we make decisions, we're not just looking at it from just from a capability standpoint, but we're also looking on how it impacts the mission and also how we're, reducing um, any type of inefficiencies or anything that I would say that does not directly correlate with lethality, readiness, or effectiveness by the investments that we invest into. So, those are some of the areas I have had opportunity. I would say in another part of my particular space, get to do a lot of the enterprise offerings as we look at some of the services of common concern, as we would like to call it. So we're looking at some of the elimination of some of our traditional types of legacy IT, whether it's some of our time division multiplexing type of activities, where it gets for old voice type activities, and talking about how we can continue to modernize that and ensure that we have the things we need in place. And just some of the other things I've had the opportunity to work on is mission partner environment and how that affects not only the Department of the Air Force, but also the DoD at large. So I get to work those in both of those particular spaces. And the one thing that we can all agree upon is that when we go to fight, we never fight alone. We're always fighting with joint forces across other mil depths, and then some against our allies that we partner with as well to get the mission done and accomplished.
Okay, a lot to dive in.
Yeah.
Let's start with the cloud journey.
Yep.
Yeah, the just like you said, the Air Force is continuing that shift toward a multi-cloud hybrid environment. Could you talk about where the service is at in that
Mhm.
journey and kind of what your current focus is?
Yeah. So based upon the CIO's current direction, and what we've been doing is overhauling our cloud strategy, which is expected to be released in the first quarter of FY26. So these are including some things that we're looking to really objectives like to accelerate cloud adoption, build out hybrid and edge, which I would like to call DDoS type of environments, which you're talking about at the edge, disconnected, deny, intermittent, and limited environments. And that's focusing on our European and Indo-PACOM theaters. And as you can see, given the world things of events today, there's a reason why we want to make sure we have those capabilities in place for our warfighters, whether it's our airmen and our guardian. Our focus and desire insight is to enable our Space Force and our Air Force to make sure they have lethality, readiness, and efficiency capabilities by leveraging cloud security, the resiliency of the cloud, the speed, the scalability of a multi-cloud environment or a hybrid environment that the cloud provides. I would say both from the Air Force and Space Force perspective, we made some significant strides on how we matured our cloud and our hybrid environment. And that's from transitioning from what I would say maybe one to two type of cloud environment, but to a multi-cloud environment. environment, and that helps us with getting a broader way on how we do our digital modernization strategy. Enhances our readiness, our efficacy of our data, our operational efficiency, resiliency, and reliability. But it also helps us with managing multi-cloud environments where we can introduce or look at limiting some of the things that we have across the way. I would say some of the things that have been introduced with having a multi-cloud environment is increased complexity, where we have challenges to a certain degree with data integration issues and the need for stronger governance as we kind of work through those. But we're looking to avoid a lot of those things by having that strategy in place where we can reduce the duplication of services and those inefficiencies. So one of our flagship initiatives that has helped us to go do this is Cloud One. And Cloud One serves as our backbone of our transition and of this maturity of this particular capability. Cloud One currently today is a multi-cloud, multi-vendor ecosystem that leverages commercial cloud service providers like Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. And the enterprise platform, what it does, it helps us enable us to host unclassified workload, mission critical apps, and ensures that we're able to scale, provide resiliency, reliability, and security, and helps us focus on streamlining operations and reducing inefficiencies from our legacy systems that we've had in the past. I would say this approach not only accelerates our decision making apparatus, but also helps enable collaboration not only across the DAF, but across the services as well. I would say the Space Force is advancing in its enterprise ground services program, which integrates satellite command and control systems into a hybrid and multi cloud architecture. And what this is doing is ensuring agility, resilience, and satellite operations, which are critical to our modern warfare. I would say, just to kind of cap this off, both services are really committed to leveraging the flexibility of a multi-cloud environment and solutions, but it has to be at the right place for the right workload, right environment, and ensuring that we're doing something that's really cost effective, and also while we're optimizing the right performance. We are also doing this and keeping in mind the prioritization of cybersecurity to ensure that we're safeguarding our systems against our current and emerging threats. We want to ensure that our forces can remain agile, innovative, and mission ready as we look to, continue to engage in every increasing complex digital landscape by embracing a multi-cloud approach. So just to kind of give you just a little bit of synopsis, I want to say our journey began with Cloud One. Used to be named the Air Force Common Computing Environment so many years ago. It started in 2015 as a part of the DAS broader and effort to modernize our infrastructure and transition to cloud-based solutions, and the DAF has done a fantastic job of going after that and seeing that the cloud program is managed by our PEO, which is our Cyber and Networks PEO, PEO CNN, and that's managed by General Anthony Genetempo, and that's led by Mr. Glenn Townsend, his senior material leader. So we're making strides. We still have plenty of work to do, but the progress is coming, and I'm really excited about what we get with that new strategy that's really going to start really bringing all these threads together and really providing the agility, the scalability, and the cyber resilience and support that we need for our mission operators, whether it be airmen or guardian.
You mentioned the strategy. We can
Mhm.
expect that in an unclassified version too.
So I would say there will probably be a sanitized version of this that will probably be available for public use. But I think it just depends. But right now, I think we're looking at a public use probably strategy that will have maybe that be forward facing.
Okay, okay. And of course, you talked about Cloud One and that it's at the center of the transformation. Could you
Yeah.
give us an update on Cloud One? And also, could you give maybe a sense of the progress made over the past year with various cloud efforts that you have going on? Maybe, I don't know if you have maybe the amount of apps that have been moved, things like that, that we can measure.
So I would say we've moved quite a few applications in there, over 50 plus. We're really what we're really focused up on, and I would think it's the depth, the not the depth, but the Secretary of Defense's priority, and also the CIO is to ensure we have a clean audit. And so what we're doing right now is really putting our focus on particularly those financial systems to ensure, which we call FIRE. systems to ensure that they have that clean audit. So we're working through the rest of those and aggressively getting those done and look to have the completion of those onboarding of those remaining. I think it's like maybe remaining about maybe several to 16 systems left by the end of the fiscal year to have that complete. And but we've been making great progress and strides in that area, and that's going to enable the DAF to have a clean audit. And so one of the things that we're looking to do as far as, and that's been implemented along the way, and we've got some pieces in place, but we're looking to have that codified and solely is working along with our enterprise directors from a strategic approach is to look at our cloud cost optimization and how we navigate those complexities of managing multi-cloud and hybrid architecture really within a fiscal constrained environment. And really what it gets down to is implementation of FinOps within our framework. And when I'm talking about that, we've already started doing some of that where we're leveraging some of those financial operations where we can better forecast our cloud spending, minimize our waste, ensure resources are allocated effectively to support not only our business but also our mission operations. So we've been adopting a FinOps approach with particularly Cloud One as we centralize some of our framework where we're reducing duplication. We've also, as a department, mandated the use of Cloud One for all our unclassified non-intelligence workloads, and that's actually increased some of the throughput there, and also look to leverage what we get with JWCC along with the DoD-CIO, which is the Joint Warfighter Cloud contract. I would say both Ms. Goodmine and myself are focused on balancing cost optimization with mission readiness and also ensuring that cloud solutions are scalable, secure, capable of meeting the dynamic demands of the military operations by adopting, structured frameworks, enterprise strategies such as FinOps, and also paving the way for smarter cloud investments as we kind of move forward based upon the economic realities and the operational activities that we have ahead of us.
Yeah, could you dive a little bit into that cost optimization? You know, when this is such a complex environment, so how
Mhm.
are you thinking about that piece, determining what exactly makes economic sense, making sure that you avoid duplication, unnecessary spending, things like that?
So I would say from our approach and how we want to look at it, we want to look at FinOps as I kind of made reference to as a framework where we're disciplined and it promotes a collaboration between how we want to do the engineering, how do we want to do the financial investment, how we want to look at the business, and then really truly make data driven decisions on our spending and our investments. So that methodology is really going to emphasize on financial accountability, looking at the operational agility, and look at really truly how we balance out those technical mission and also resourcing implications along the way. And it enables us to come up with I would say, an optimized approach on how we want to do our cloud usage and also reduce any unnecessary expenditures that we have that come our way. And by leveraging that FinOps model, I kind of made that reference to before, that'll help us with better forecasting in the future, minimize waste, help us with possibly reducing, the amount of storage and computing that we have as far as our data is concerned, and eliminate some of the redundancy and resourcing that we have across the board.
And before I let you go, I wanted to fit in a couple more questions. This one is about AI. How does that fit into what we're talking about? And also, how is the Air Force thinking overall about how the technology can be most beneficial for the service?
So I would say that some of the efforts of integrating AI are currently happening to improve our operations right now. As the Department of Air Force, we're thinking about how we want to integrate and improve AI for our operations. Some of the things we're focused on are cutting edge enterprise data and AI solutions to achieve what we were looking at as unmatched excellence at the echelon. And we're doing this through strategy, policy governance, oversight, and accelerated adoption. And so we've got a couple of things where we have instituted, which we're calling like DAISY, for instance, which is our DAF Air Force AI services environment. We've got our Microsoft only ILZ based pilot. This delivers a generative AI prototyping through information assistance. We've got enterprise generative AI as a service. This is going to help us with a collective of mission centric and enterprise facing applications on a ramped up into Gen AI platform storefront. We're also developing a DAF Data AI Center of Excellence, and that's being headed by Mrs. Davenport, our CDAO. And what that's going to allow us to do is reduce the timeline between the need and production for the DAF's department's AI priorities. And some of that we're doing in partnership, not just looking at it in a mill depth or institutional standpoint. We're also partnering with the private sector along with academia to help us with finding efficiencies in IT, creating real-time cybersecurity, enabling enterprise predictive analytics, developing expert prompt engineering. And so a lot of this we're driving the DAF's AI vision across partner areas such as research and development, policy and standards, whether it's in training and workforce development and acquisition, contracts and finance, industry and academia. So the way we've been thinking about it is how can we best utilize or find the best value or benefit of AI? And thinking through this, we've looked at it through a lens of the warfighter and how can we find different methods or the way to enhance and continue to promote lethality or ubiquitous connectivity and our cyber optimization resilience. And through utilizing or leveraging AI, we think we can take that capability in line with zero trust requirements that we have to foster adaptability and innovation and mission support, and we can do agile software development, accelerated cloud development or adoption, secure data distribution of an AI, and then look at how we really want to plan network of the future. I know that kind of sounds kind of lame, but we want to really think about how we want to move forward in the future, not just think for the now. And then think about what are those end user devices that we want to use from a modernized approach as far as we look at it as our network in the future. And then talk about how we can really take advantage of our unified ICAM, enterprise ICAM investments. I would say some of the things like our Nipper GPT. I don't know if you've heard about that, but that was an experiment. It's an experiment that is still in play that we're leveraging across areas such as human adoption and such as use cases, cybersecurity infrastructure, cost value analysis, and acquisitions and policy rights. But by tackling this, we've made ourselves smarter in this area, and we've done some evidence-based and informed choices by leveraging generative AI. Nipper GT research was informing on how we were looking at open source and generative AI and how it can be safely and effectively used for national security, driving down cost of AI and future systems while staying ahead of our adversaries. Some of the things that we have as far as Nipper GPT is utilizing, some of the technology that's out there, not necessarily using GOTS tools, but open source to a certain degree. Also, we're looking at additional experiments in the future where we move forward into a subscription-based model, where we're looking at every 6 months there's an agreed upon cost for utilization or unlimited GPUs for, which means that we have a growing user base and there's a need and there's a demand signal for this. So I would say to kind of maybe put a pin on it, the DAF is going to continue to find ways to implement and leverage AI as we continue to go down this journey and aggregate it with the things we have. But we'll need to continue to be agnostic, fast moving when it comes to generate AI experimentation as platforms and large language models, and continue to develop that and utilize the source level code for experimentation, not really, which is not really allowed, but also find ways and avenues where we can leverage commercial tools and also experiences from folks from industry and academia.
Keith, very quick before I let you go,
Yeah.
there is so much to follow up on, but but everything that you've been talking about, I just wanted to address the workforce
Yeah.
and what does it mean for the workforce of the Air Force, especially in the context of the Defense Department trying to reduce the civilian workforce by up to 8%. How are you, how are you thinking about that given the current environment?
So I would say, given the current environment and some of the resourcing constraints we're working through, I will say some of my priorities as we kind of look at from a workforce standardization perspective is some of the tools I may mention of whether it's AI adoption, but some of the big things I'm working on is basic infrastructure modernization, where we're looking as infrastructure as a service and leveraging some of the things that industry has to help us enable some of our airmen and guardian that's sitting here in these positions to not only be more warfighter centric on their particular mission sets, but also enhance some of our civilian partners and gain additional tools and learning as we kind of go forward with the restructure and reorganization. And then we'll find different ways on how we approach with some of our efforts as far as DAF data on demand or cloud adoption. I think a lot of this is going to be really helpful as we really look to move forward with our personnel, but which and that's why I was kind of really intentional talking about how we leverage our governance moving forward because resourcing is going to be what it is. And so working with what we have and leveraging the talent and skill sets not only of our civilian but our airmen and guardian is going to be intricate to what we're trying to get across the board. But some of the things and the efforts we're working on now will help enable us to make sure that we're a lot more efficient and more effective as it relates to making sure we meet the demand of increasing our lethality, providing additional readiness for our airmen and guardian, but also ensuring that we're effective with that too as well.
Keith, thank you so much again for coming on and giving us this update.
I appreciate it. Thank you all for having me. I really appreciate it.
Let me thank today's guest again, Keith Hardiman, the Director of Enterprise IT at the Air Force. I'm Anastasia Obis, and you're watching Federal News Network.